Yo, yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to SMS Live. And we're going to get into this thing in just a second here. But as always, we do a little bit of an intro. Very, very excited about this show. It's been a fucking fantastic day. And I couldn't figure out a better way to cap it off but to have this go down. So give me 1 second here and let me take a look at this request. Never mind. But as always, guys, I'm SMS. We do these Monday and Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's sponsored by Gokhshtein Media, G Media, where Legends Talk and Generations Listen. It's been a pleasure working with them. Looking forward to getting some traveling in and checking out what else we got at these events. Since Nashville, it's literally lit a fire under my ass to get things going and do the most I could, support and give back to them. And it's finding new ways and incorporating my lifestyle and the things in my background. It seems like it all came full circle with the Influencer Fight Club, Karate Combat, and me already, being in the fight world, meeting all these new people around the world with this platform we have with X. I try to tell all of my friends to start expanding yourself. Your reach will go so much further. And I start with the guys that I know put in the most work, that deserve the biggest elevation and platform that I can give them. Jake is getting ready for a fight. He's been accomplishing a lot in the last 2 years alone with fighting, but there's a lot more to the story with Jake, and we're going to get into that. Jake Kelly's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a while. Him and his brother, Zach, both amazing people before anything. So let's get into it real quick. A lot of people have been asking me what the SMS Club is. So let me just share this with you guys real quick. You guys could take a look and start to figure this out. The reason I'm telling you guys about this and want to get this set up, hold on, let me switch this so you can actually see it. But how come that's not coming up? Oh, man. I can't share any tabs now. Hold on 1 second. I think I know why. There's that. Boom. There we go. But we're looking to do airdrops, looking to do some give back to the community. With the SMS Club, Solana Made Simple, it's a vibrant community of passionate investors, art collectors, builders, artists, media personalities, and much, much more. People just getting into cryptocurrency, getting onboarded. This is the place where you want to start. This is where you can ask all the dumb questions where you don't know where to look up. This is where I started, and I just share my journey, and it's got me this far. So I figured, why not stop there? Why not share this and expand it to you guys? So I'm here to cultivate that space in the midst of crypto's chaos, because there's a lot of things that you got to navigate. It's not just a walk in the park like we want it to be, but we're getting closer and closer and closer. If you've been watching the stream, you might have seen the Get Code. That's definitely an app I would suggest literally everybody I know going forward. Like, yo, go download this app. I don't work for them. Maybe I will at some point, but it's definitely worth getting that app. But in this space, I strive to find the opportunities. It's not always about finding the early entry. It's just understanding a chart, trying to figure out how you can get into the game. It's not always timing it. It's spending the time getting in it. It's like the OG Warren Buffett says. But together we can get way further than doing things alone. You might run it up, but if you have a team of people where, let's say, you fuck up, you got a team to have your back. But that's pretty much what it is, like community center. It's not, something you have to pay for. There's no gate of entry. I let every single person in, one by one. If it's somebody where I don't know you, you haven't posted, you look like kind of shady, you're not coming in. I'm just got to protect my community in the best way possible. So far, it's been amazing getting on other social fly platforms like the Arena, which we're going to be talking with on Sunday. We have the founder, Jason Desimone. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find it because it's so many fucking things that's tweeted. But you guys get the idea. I've been sharing that shit all day. The reason we're here today is to talk about Jake Kelly. So let me go ahead and bring him up here. Give me a second to find that. And Jake, you're upside down right now.
That's much.
What's going on, brother? You're upside down.
I'm still upside down?
Yep.
All right. Let me switch my camera. My bad.
No, it's all good, bro. I'm figuring shit out as I go too.
What about that?
There you go. You're looking good, man. How you been?
Oh, I'm doing good, Subi. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing. Let me get this fucking this QR thing out of the way. Dude, this is great. I'm so happy to have you here, man. Welcome to SMS Live. This is something I've been doing in the background probably for like 2.5, 3 years, building this thing up, and finally got to a point of a platform where I got an audience where I want to share and kind of elevate people like you that I know in this fight game. Where I just kind of want to put your presence out there. You guys are killing it, doing your thing. Last couple of years, like I was saying, you've been accomplishing a lot, and there's a bunch of layers to you. So I want to get into it, but take a second, introduce yourself, share whatever you need to. But I got a ton of questions, a ton of different things to share. Just because I know you personally, I can take this a lot further with that. But share whatever you'd like to. Let the world know who you are, And the mic's yours, brother.
Yeah, hello everybody watching. This is first of all, thank you, Suvi, for having me on here. This is a great experience, great opportunity. Yeah, there's a lot that I do, but I guess a short and sweet answer is I make clothes, I kick ass, and I look good doing it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can definitely attest to that. I've been watching your whole kind of journey with the clothing thing, and that's what I never saw that coming. Honestly, when you started training with us and stuff like that, I didn't see the clothing thing, but I watched you go out to LA and spend that time. But before we get into that, I want to give the guys a background and story. So Jake and his brother have been friends of mine for I don't know what 10 years or so at the very least.
Yeah, at least a decade.
Yeah, so we've been pretty tight with different gyms. I used to live in Lancaster, and I was training at their gym for a few months when I've been up there when I wasn't injured. Getting that time in there. But it's always been a lot of love, even the distance and the gap. But watching
Mhm.
both brothers kind of move their way up in the fight world and then just the regular world, it's been a blessing. And Jake, like I said, he kind of just disappeared. It seemed like, and he went out to L.A. And fill us in on what you did there. Tell us a little bit about what drove you to kind of pick up things, I guess, after school, right?
Yeah, I went to college out there. Yeah, so right after I graduated high school, I was fresh 18. I was thinking like, what do I want to do with my life? I was having those really hard thoughts. I was pondering a lot about what I wanted to do in the next 1, 5, 10 years, and something I was always interested in was clothing. I always cared about what I was wearing or how I dressed or different brands. That stuff always interested me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was maybe like 14 years old, 13, 14, it kind of sounds dumb saying it now, but at least in my young mind back then, I didn't realize that anybody could just make clothes.
Right.
I thought it was just like, oh, the only Nike makes clothes, only Louis Vuitton makes clothes, only these giant businesses and huge worldwide corporations are the ones that can make clothes.
Mm-hmm.
But then, once I started getting on the internet more and seeing, smaller people just make what they liked and, kind of build their own brand, that was something that I started to pursue. And I started with just like customizing hats in my bedroom. And
Mm-hmm.
then that progressed into customizing jeans and then teaching myself how to sew and how to screen print. But yeah,
Oh,
after high school, I went out to LA. I went to FIDM for college. And after I graduated college, I was just living out there for a couple years, learning a lot, getting exposed to, I guess you could say, the real world.
yeah, yeah,
Lancaster, Lancaster's a pretty insulated place.
yeah. It gets
It's
small quick.
exactly. Everybody knows everybody. It's not a very outside of the box place. It's
No,
like it's a bunch of cornfields and then yeah, we have a city in that, but it's you could walk from one end of the city to the other end in 20 minutes.
yeah, for sure. Well,
So I moved
that's one
to
thing. One thing when I lived there, hold on, let me close this one out here. But one thing when I
yeah,
lived up there, I noticed that it was I worked with the people from up there, so I kind of knew some of the mentality and like just the area. And then getting there, I was like, damn, I thought Delaware was small. This is
oh yeah,
like,
bro.
yeah, it gets you in there. And the unfortunate thing about that is like so many people just get so directed in that mindset. And I know that this is something for you that gets you outside of that. It's the clothing. It's not just that like the fighting thing. It's something that drew passion in your heart, and you could see
Yeah.
that because you were doing this stuff by hand. Like I literally remember watching you and coming up with the stuff and like sewing it. I was like, damn, dude, this dude's like, I respect people like that so much, and I love watching the journey and the whole process and seeing like the different types of like jeans. Like I remember watching like how you would cut them up, and you had like a couple group of friends that you would take photos afterwards
Yeah,
and do all
yeah.
that stuff. Dude, it was sick, and it's like I don't think people appreciated those times. And like I remember
Not at
watching, I
all.
was like, this is gonna be cool to watch, see what happens, because I know he's not gonna give up.
And something that I always stuck in my head was I didn't want to be the type of business owner that just is the guy who runs the business,
Mm-hmm.
and is telling everybody what to do, but doesn't know how to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to understand from an early age and from an early point in this journey that I need to take a lot of time to learn how to do everything, how to make patterns, how to find references, how to get fabric, sew, screen print. I want to know how to do everything. So then when I do get to the point where I'm at the same level as Phil Knight, where my brand is international, it's a globally recognized brand,
Right.
that if I'm telling somebody this is how I want something made, I'm not just telling you to tell you, I'm telling you for a reason, because I've spent the years working with my own hands actually making this stuff.
Right.
And that's always been really important to me. I want to actually understand what it is that I'm doing.
So one thing I'm kind of curious, as far as the school, is that like a specific fashion, like designing kind of school? Is that where you went? Like that's, or is that like an art school, like the Art Institute kind of thing? How does
Yeah.
that break it down?
Yeah, it's a private college and they focus in business and design.
Okay,
So and then it's everything is like fashion correlated. So
gotcha.
they
So
have
as you like,
everything from like, literal fashion design to they have visual communications where it's more so like you could say setting up a set, or I guess an easy example is like setting up like window displays in a
mhm,
store, something like that. Or you could go for marketing, or it's pretty much anything that a normal college offers. It's just all clothing and fashion
right,
related.
right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like if you get centric and specific on that, it's going to open up different avenues. Just the way you're talking about it, it's like stuff I would never even think of. But I'm kind of thinking like, how do they curate this? It's like you're a business owner, you're developing your own stuff. Just the way you're talking about it, it's like
Mhm.
knowing you want to have your hands on so you can explain exactly like this, from the ground up, you've done every step, and that makes
Yeah,
the best business owner. And my background being construction, like from the laborer up to the foreman, like every step, you can explain it, and you're going to hire the best people and ask for the top of the line kind of service, and like
absolutely.
that makes perfect sense. I like that. I like how I can see that in you. I mean, I've seen you from wrestling, getting in through high school, becoming a
Mhm.
champion wrestler, all the way through that, just with fighting, to see the correlation. And I try to explain to people like us having the background of determination just in sports to finish something, it crosses over for anything else we decide to touch. It's like we know the same principles of show up, do the work. Who
Yeah.
cares if anybody's paying attention right now? We know what we're working towards. We see the vision, and there's nothing that can put that fire out. That's one thing. It's the it factor. Some people want to call it whatever, but for
Hmm.
us, it's just passion and what we do. And I see that in you, and it's like I'm not surprised on this at all. Like I literally remember seeing like the goodbye parties and stuff like that in the photos, seeing this, and it's cool because
Yeah.
like dude, a decade of what you've been getting yourself into, making a name for yourself. But what directions do you go to use like to get marketing and get yourself out there? Do you go to like events or anything like that?
To be honest, the two main things that it is one, the best form of marketing, which is word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
which is another reason why I focus so heavily on creating a quality product, because I don't want people to just talk about something because it's cool, or they see it on Instagram. I want people to get something that I make, and then when they feel it in their hands and they put it on their body and they see how it makes them looks, it gives them a certain type of feeling. And then
Right,
when they talk about it, or if somebody asks them about it, they can actually, give a genuine response, and they're not just saying something because, a famous rapper is wearing it, or something
right,
like that.
exactly,
They actually appreciate it.
right.
Like
Well,
that jacket that you're showing on screen, the way I made that was I went and first off, I had to find a jacket that I liked the fit of. So, I searched for, this took me a while,
I
because
watched some pictures of this.
I like a bunch of different silhouettes and things. Like, at least personally, for my body type, like I have really long arms
Mhm.
and like a shorter torso. So I like things that are a little more square fitting. I like when they fall at my waist, and I need the arms to be a little bit longer.
Right,
And that's kind of just a good proportion for people in general. You want to have to look like you have long legs.
right,
That's just an attractive look. So if you make something fit a little bit shorter, it makes your legs look longer, and it's just attractive. And that's like the type of stuff that, when I was sitting there, because I mean, making clothes it's a lonely process.
right.
You sit there, you're by yourself at a sewing machine, and this is the type of stuff that I had to think about so much. And I had to think, why do people wear the stuff that they wear? They wear it so they look good and so they feel good. And yeah, so that jacket, The cut is all very specific. All the leather, it's from 3 different leather jackets that I found. So it's called the tri leather jacket because the sleeves are both sleeves are made of different jackets. The 2 front panels are different. The back panel is different. It's 3 different leather jackets, and I deconstructed them. I got the leather from all of them, and then sewed them all together. Made like a big sheet of fabric,
Mhm.
and then from the pattern that I had, cut it all out, and then pretty much just put it back together. And try a leather jacket, 3 different types of leather.
This one was really cool to see, like posted up and see it sold or whatever. Um, when I saw that, I was like, damn, I remember watching the process. You would post the stories and like the
Mhm.
late nights you'd be up because like I'd be up all types of hours and like I'd see you like still grinding, and I was like, yo, this is like I enjoy watching the process of art. Being an artist
Yeah,
myself, like nothing should be done like in an instant. Like some things can be happen, whatever. That's lightning in the bottle, but like the process, the journey, and everything that goes through it, like you have a story for this jacket. This jacket carries something. It carries energy
absolutely.
now. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about this. And like hearing it come from you, I'm like it's 100% authentic. Like this is genuine. And I think he made a post one day, and I was like, oh, I love this shit. He said, "This isn't merch. This is what was it? Designer
It's,
or this is."
yeah, it's not merch, it's designer.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, that's such a good line because it's
Because
such a
people will say that to me. They're like, "Oh, I want to get some of your merch. I want to get your merch."
yeah.
And I feel like people say that for 2 reasons. One, because the brand is my name,
Mhm.
but nobody goes to Rick Owens and says, "I want to buy your merch." Rick Owens is just the name of the label. It's the name of the brand.
Yeah.
And because people also say that, and I don't know if they mean it like this, but I kind of take that as a backhanded compliment because you think of merch, you think of like,
Like this.
a YouTuber or like
It's like a
something.
T-shirt that's screen printed that you can order like by a click of a button. Like that's merch.
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah, in a sense. And that's just not what I do at all. Like I put
yeah.
so much time and effort and thought and energy into these pieces that this is designer. Just because I'm not at the level of a Rick Owens or a Kanye West or a Raf Simmons at this moment in time doesn't mean that I'm not making designer clothes.
Gotcha. What's like some of the bigger inspirations? Those guys right there. But like, what keeps you doing this? Like, just the fact that you enjoy it, or is there? What's the goal? Like, where do you see success for the J Kelly line?
See, it's so much about making clothes, but even bigger than clothes, it's art. And
Mm-hmm.
art it's the most powerful thing that people can create. It's the most beautiful thing that people can create. I mean, I don't know if whatever anyone's beliefs are, but you almost have to think that we are God's art project. He
Mm-hmm.
created something so beautiful in his image, and the closest thing that we can get to becoming a god is creating art. And you look at these people like Leonardo da Vinci, for example.
Right.
I very much respect da Vinci, and we still talk about him 500 years past his death, and people are going to talk about him 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years after this guy has been dead. And in a sense, da Vinci lives forever through his
Right.
art. And I'll post it time to time on my story, but something, I guess you could say, a mantra that I say to myself that, if I kind of if I just feel flustered, or I get in some type of mood or something might get me off track, I just tell myself Jake Kelly lives forever.
Right.
And what that really means is the reason why I push myself so hard to create these beautiful things and why I push myself so hard in kickboxing to compete at these levels and win at these high levels is I want my name to live forever. I want my grandkids, my great grandkids to be proud of who they are, to be proud of their
Yeah.
last name. And like myself, like, I mean, I guess it's a little personal, but like, I don't know anything about my family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
both of my grandparents were adopted, and they don't know, they didn't know anything about their biological family.
Yeah.
So it's like my family tree is very short,
Right.
and I want my family tree 50 years, 100 years from now to be able to look back at its lineage and be proud of who they are.
Mm.
And creating things that impact people and bring beauty into the world is the most important thing that people can do.
Dude,
And you look at the levels that artists reach, you know, and there's a reason that Kanye West is as big as Kanye West is, and why he's talked about as much as he is, because he's impacted the world. And that's what I'm aiming to do.
you definitely are gonna aiming for a legacy, like, and it's a different perspective saying it that way. A couple things that I gotta say real quick, dude, and I can relate to is the reason I ever started writing graffiti was because I knew if I wrote my name enough, people would see it, and not
Hmm.
only that, it would be remembered. I would make a name for myself, etch it in history. You cannot take that away. You cannot take the work, the things I've done. People will forever talk about it.
Absolutely.
I made an impact in an East Coast corridor type of
Hmm.
situation, and like that showed me the possibilities to go further from there. On top of the reason why I wanted, all right, so the SMS, like my initials are SMS from when I was very young, and I said SMS will mean something. My dad's
Hmm.
adopted, so my last name is somebody else's name. My his actual last name is Edwards. So that
Hmm.
would, like, all of that is just found from him meeting up with my uncle, 50 whatever some years later, like,
Yeah.
or 60 some years later actually. And like, so we don't, I'm very much with you. Like, I know part of it, but like nothing over here. It's
Hmm.
literally, it starts here. Like, we are the first generation Suvis from, the Gladdens and the Suvi adopted name, but I'm the first son from my dad as an
Yeah.
adopted. So what you're saying is very, very important to me. And that's why I said SMS, that will mean something no matter what I have to do. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't matter if it takes you 10 years or 10 weeks or 10 decades, like, well, maybe not decades, but you know what I'm
I
saying.
understand.
It doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. Like, if that's what you want to do, like, the other thing about it is what you're saying is those small acts that are very, very minimal to us. Like, we know that it's part of the journey. Every hand raise, everything you succeed, every finished product, it's just one part of the journey there.
Hmm.
But that's what's left behind. People see that and they remember the Jay Kellys and the Sean Suvias of the world, that they did something and they continued to press on. They continued to put their foot on the gas and be like,
Exactly.
it's way bigger than me. Like, there's a message I'm supposed to be sharing, and like I'm very strong on the religious aspect. Like, I kind of doubted it for a while until I was like, everyone I look up to does the same thing, and it's the one thing I am pushing away.
Hmm.
And like, not like anti anything, just like I don't need that kind of thing. And like,
Yep.
once I realized, like, no, dude, like it's not a like a moment to preach it. It's just I realized for myself, like, all right, every single person I've idolized or I've looked up to or I saw something of inspiration or a moment of like whatever, that they give it back first.
Hmm.
And I saw that and I was like,
Absolutely.
what's that?
I said absolutely. Yeah, I
And
agree with you.
what I realized was like, I don't have to find a meaning or a calling. I just do what I do, and then that comes with it. And the byproduct is all of that stuff that like people aim for and they try to get. And it's like the person that cares the least seems to get the most attention. The person that seeks the most attention usually gets the least. And it's like
Hmm.
a humbling thing, and it is a humility thing. That to me is something I learned with martial arts. Like, because the friends and the people I hung out with, they were just aiming for the other direction, and it's like I came in there and it was quickly like obvious to me, like, hey, humble yourself down. There's more to this. Everybody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It changed me a little bit. And like on top of that, I ate a bunch of mushrooms, and that really opened me up to like seeing like, hey, there's a lot more out there. Like,
Hmm.
and it just, I don't know. I watched you before. It was one of your international fights, and maybe it was the first one that you went out to. But you were walking around in the woods, and you were talking about your life, talking about kind of how you're feeling. You were on a hike or something like that, and
Hmm.
I watched like the whole thing. It was like 20 minutes long, and I was like, that was when I really saw that energy in you, and like the success is there already, and it's just like I
Yeah,
get to watch it.
that was when I first moved back to Pennsylvania. If I'm thinking of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
I went yeah, because I moved back, and I just had so much on my mind. I was, to be honest, more so than anything, I was so angry
Mm.
because I was trying to be such a good person and give myself to all these people that I had around me, and I felt like I was just continuously getting stabbed in the back, and nothing was just going my way. It was like anytime I thought I saw a door was opening, right when I was about to step my foot through it, it would just get closed in my face. And yeah, I came back, and yeah, I just went on a super long hike, and I just had so much on my mind. I was like, I need to document this right now. You know, I just need
Mm.
to get my thoughts out and let it out. And then when I get home, I want to watch it all back and comprehend what I said. And yeah, that was just a very eye-opening experience. And I feel like that that single hike that I took and those thoughts, that stream of consciousness that I had,
Yeah.
that really set me on track for, you know, where I am right now.
Dude, I think like I don't think I know for a fucking fact because like while I watched it that I had a like the energy was hitting me. I was like, yo, my man is like that moment that you had, like you said, you recorded it and it wasn't like planned. It was just you were going out to let out the steam, let everything go. And something I've learned, and I believe that you're pretty strong on this, is your mindset and kind of thinking of
Mhm.
things. And what it seemed like to me when I watched it, because I looked back at it the other day when I knew you were coming on here, because I remember that was like a moment I was like, there's something about this kid that I just want to keep watching this story because right now he's realizing like his worth and
Mhm.
like his identity of who he is and what he wants to be. And like you didn't say anything about that, but that's what I took from it. You know what I mean? I didn't really say anything to you. Like I think I liked it and commented on it just to let you know, like I saw this and like I respect that about people,
Mhm.
like stuff like that, because most people they don't open up and let things go. And one thing I used to think is be mindful, but it's like a thing I try to tell people. It's a mindless. You let things go. You let that thing come out of you, and you start to see a lot more clearly. You see like what's the path, what's speaking to you, what's letting it out, and being out in the open and in like a natural environment that pulls that out so much. I mean, I know your phone's there. Somebody's going to say something dumb about that, but the point is like you're in a isolated situation. You know what I mean? Your
Mhm.
vulnerabilities are down because you feel comfortable. You're on your own and there, and it's like I don't know. I've always saw that, and like it's something that registered. Like, man, that's a powerful message. It's a powerful just 20 minutes of Jake's life, and it's like it's funny to like kind of talk about that because like it's something most people probably didn't pay attention to. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I
it
agree.
was
I
cool.
feel like I'm still at the point in my life where, you know, I understand the type of work that I'm putting out into the world,
Mm.
but I'm still at the point where it's like people might understand it, but I feel most people they just think like, oh, this is a dumb guy uploading videos on YouTube, just
Yeah.
yapping, you know. But it's like I feel like I'm the most conscious individual on earth. Like everything I do is it's so thought through and it's like not I'm very spontaneous, you know, and I can do things like at a whim. If I get an
Mhm.
idea, you know, I act on an idea, but it's not random, if that's the best word. Like everything is just so conscious. Like I feel my mind feels so clear
Mhm.
and I feel there's no fog. Everything is just it's what it's supposed to be,
Right.
you know, and
You're not
whatever.
fighting against it kind of thing. Like you kind of it's
Exactly.
not going like you said with the flow and a random thing. It's like this is exactly where you're supposed to be. You're in the right position at the right time, and it's being where you're supposed to be. Most people think in behind or ahead, and it takes away the moment. And once you
Hmm.
get into that, like people call it a flow state or something like that, but it's
Yeah.
like I know what you're saying because you dial in, and it's like you don't really have anxieties. You don't have worries that the typical person has because what is there to worry about? You know that this is like part of it, and it's just
What's happening, everything that's happening is supposed to happen.
right.
And it's just all about how I react to the situation. And
Where'd you find?
I wouldn't get tested or I wouldn't get put through these things if I wasn't capable of persevering through them. Even if it's difficult, I just have to figure out a way to get through it and to get to the end goal. And once I kind of realized that, I realized you can't get flustered by things that are difficult. You're there for a reason and they're happening for a reason.
Right,
You just have
adjust.
to plan your way through and get
Yeah,
through it.
I tell people that a lot. Like there's been situations recently that happen, and people call it a blessing in disguise, and it's like I look at it like yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, but it's also one way of things are happening exactly how you're supposed to. Maybe it's preventing or it's giving you more, or whatever the case is, but like I don't worry as much. I can look when it's like a personal thing where it's like maybe somebody's doing something personal, it might make me angry, but I gotta just remember, like you're saying, like, hey, this is part of the course. Just keep rolling with it. There's something bigger at play, and this is supposed to set you up to make sure you're ready for those types of things. And that's how I look at it when it comes to the kind of adversity. So it's like
Mhm.
I'm able to adjust to it, and people are like, how do you just not care? It's like, it's not like I don't care. I care so much that I understand that, hey, this is it. This is right
Mhm.
now, and it's not
Absolutely.
forever. And I'm glad you said that, because that's a message that some people, they don't take a second to just breathe and see, like, hey, like, even if you wanted it to change the other direction, eventually that's going to come up. You can't
Yeah.
avoid certain things.
Something that I don't know. This is just something I've been thinking about a lot, and I guess it's very suiting to just talk about it right now. But in the sense of like everything is supposed to happen for a reason. It's like I kind of had to realize like when you have an idea for something, I don't know. I was thinking about what is an idea, you know, like ideas just you're just sitting there and something just pops into your head,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just how it is. Like where does that come from? And I don't know if there's just like a big idea cloud that floats around in the universe or whatever. And
Yeah,
sometimes it pops in my head, but then you hear people say, oh, we had the same idea. Or maybe you're thinking of something and you're working on it at home and you haven't told anybody about it. But then you go on X and you see someone else posted the same exact thing, maybe
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
drawing, for example, and they
Right.
drew the same thing you're thinking of. And it's like, how did we have the same idea, but we never talked about it? It's like, I don't know what ideas are, but ideas get put in your head in some way, and they get put in there for a reason, and they're so powerful and so important that you need to act on those ideas.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
ideas and thoughts that go in your head, like they're
It's not an
put in
accident.
there to be expressed.
Yes.
Exactly, it's not an accident. And that's once I kind of had that realization that these ideas are in my head for a reason and the world needs to hear and see these ideas, it made the act of acting on my ideas
Easier.
so much easier.
Yes.
So much easier.
Dude,
And I
like,
think too many people get hung up on, they
what
get
could
too
happen?
anxious about not acting. They think, oh, what are other people going to think? What
Yes.
if it doesn't work? But it's like, that is only a short moment in time that you have that idea. So you need to act on. You might never get a good idea again. So you need to act on the ideas
Dude,
that
what
you
you're
get.
saying is so fucking, like, spot on. What they call that, from what I've heard and what I've seen before, those are like manifestations, and if you act on them, they become realities, like a realized manifestation. And it's like you're saying, like, there's times where um, I'm thinking of something and I'm doing something else, and it's like, if I don't jot this down or just start to make a move in this direction, like, I might forget this, and
Mhm.
like, when it's too late, somebody else is doing. You know what I mean? Like, it
Yep,
floats around
absolutely.
exactly like you're saying. And it's even with fighting. You can look at it. It's like, if you have the thought to just go in there and throw across, it's like, if you don't, it's usually something's coming at you in that exact same situation. And some people will say, "How'd you know that was coming?" It's like, I didn't. I just put myself in position. You know what I mean? Like, you just, it's an instinctual thing, and I think that everybody has the ability to do it, but so many people block that out, where they're like, how are you so good? It's like, it's not how are you, it's just, I believe I can, and I believe
Yep.
that I would not be put in here if I wasn't ready or able to deal with what's coming at me, whether it's a fight, or whether it's a deadline for something I'm trying to finish, or a painting. Or like,
Hmm.
I didn't know I could do certain paintings until I tried them, and then I was like, I'm
Absolutely.
actually really good at this. Like, this is
Too
fun.
many people are too scared to try things
Mm-hmm.
because they're scared of failure. But failure is a part of the process. You're never going to learn or get better at anything if you don't fail. So you need to just try. And it's not even so much trying, it's just you
Doing
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't try, you do.
Dude, some of the no, not some of, every successful person has failed. Every single one of them. And
Mhm.
like, I know, do you have any interest in crypto? Do you trade or collect or do any investing like that, or know much about
Yeah,
it?
bro, I'm so glad you asked that because I mean, I'm definitely not the most knowledgeable about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I put a good amount of money in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Like every week I put money in, and if I ever have extra money, I always throw it in there.
Smart. That'll
And
be at $1 million one day, 100%.
I agree. And I
Yeah,
throw money in
100%.
Ethereum, and like, I try to stay up to date with it. But when I see like you talk about crypto and the space and that, like I'm not nearly as knowledgeable as you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is something that I did want to ask you, and like I said, I'm glad you brought it up. Like, where do you think the future of crypto, or I guess even a more fine example, like where do you think Bitcoin is going to go in the future of the world?
Well, that can go in a lot of directions, and it's what do you mean? Where do you think Bitcoin is going to go? Do I think it's going to be a financial like transaction type of
Do you
thing,
think
or
it's something that people will actually use on the day to day, or do you think
no?
it's going to be an asset that people just hold, like
I think it will
gold, for
be if
example?
you think of exactly like that. If you think of it as digital gold, that's 100% the way to think about it. You think of it as long-term savings that will appreciate retirement. If you would have put your 401k in 2023 into Bitcoin, you would have 3x'd it within 14 months or so. So,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then you could pull it out, wait till the cycle happens again. But it's going to be a store of value. You can tie it to real world assets. You can use this with other blockchains as well. So you understand the concept. There's Bitcoin is digital gold. That's the one you want to buy and you don't want to sell it.
Mhm.
There's really no reason to sell it at this point with how much it's being talked about and how much it's being used. And there's thoughts that people are trying to buy it all up because there's only a very small percentage, and then it just keeps. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
scarcity factor, and you understand that. You understand different blockchains. I think Bitcoin is 100% is going to be a store of value and something for people to save, like for your grandkids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what it's going to be setting you up for generational wealth for me and you just being average Joes in this small little area, like being able to actually have that transfer of wealth that they talk about. This is where it starts at. It's only within 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to go 10x or more from this point. There's
I love
just
when I see people talk about it, whether it's like when it gets talked about recently, Donald Trump's been talking about Bitcoin a lot, or if
yeah.
Bitcoin starts to tank and it starts to go down.
Hmm.
My favorite reply is everyone always says, "Don't worry, we're still early."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my favorite thing to hear because I see the price where it's at right now, and I'm like, I'm so late. I wish, like the meme, like, oh, in 2008, I should have been buying Bitcoin instead of playing in recess or something.
Right, right, right,
Like
right.
I wish that, but then you see people talk about it, and hearing you say it's someone knowledgeable, it's just very interesting
It,
to think about something that it's so new to the world, but it's so talked about, but people just like they reject it because it's not, you can't hold it in your hand.
well, they haven't I think the biggest problem with it is the trust and the fear because of mainstream media putting the shadow, the scam, the what it was used for back in the day is just transactions online where
Yeah.
like you can get away with the Silk Road stuff, and like that's what people were worried about, laundering money or whatever. I'm like,
Hmm.
they launder money with fucking cash every day. Why
Yeah,
would this
absolutely.
change anything? They have so much more cash they can launder money with. You fucking retarded. Like
Yeah.
so that's one thing. Like the argument has to change with that, and that's going to change with people like Trump that are advocates and people like Elon that are going to speak up and talk about it. And then you're going to
Hmm.
see more and more of a cultural shift, like the meme coins. Like so, a breakdown on like the Bitcoin, you get that now. Ethereum, that's going to always be there. It's probably going to go up to $10,000 at some point. Like it's a good long term investment, but they're making a layer two, something that's faster and cheaper, which is called Base. Base is it's like their layer two on Ethereum, and it's pushed by Coinbase. So it's like
Okay.
that's one that's to pay attention to as far as blockchain. But aside from that, with you being an artist, with you having this, you could have everybody be able to buy this with Solana and
Hmm.
USD. You know what I'm saying? So Solana's the fastest. It's the most scalable network blockchain available, and it's getting better and better. Where you can, if you had these set up, you could post a link of a picture on your tweet, and then somebody could like click on that. It's called a blink. It's an actionable link where you click that and it puts you to a point of sale for
Hmm.
Solana. So like Solana would be something for you to learn and just start stacking right now.
Definitely.
It's at like 140. The chance of it going down to 120s, in my opinion, is great. But the idea and long term, this going up towards 400 or 500 this cycle, when you have Bitcoin going to past 700, 800,000, that's when
Hmm.
you start to see Solana running up in that direction.
Hmm.
Solana is again, it's like the NFTs. Then now they have meme coins, and they're like the market cap for the meme coins is huge on
That's
Solana.
what I want to ask, bro. Is it real, or people are like oh, I put $20 into this shit coin, and tomorrow morning I have 2 million. Like, is that
Yeah,
type of stuff real?
100%. I put $32
No
in,
way.
and I had $1,200 the next day.
What?
Yeah,
No way, bro.
yeah, crying cat,
Because
crying
I
cat.
see all this stuff on Twitter. Like I follow a lot of random stuff on Twitter. I follow a lot of like
Yeah,
underground music pages, random art stuff, fashion stuff, and I follow a decent amount of crypto stuff too. And yeah, I see these people talk about it, and sometimes I read these stories, and I'm like, there's no way that you're making that much money. I
yeah.
just think like, oh, they're photoshopping their Solana wallet or doing this
No,
or that. But I'm like,
some people
so
are.
that's yeah,
Some
but
people are, but like it's reality. Like I know a couple people, they woke up with like $52,000 at the same time. I would have had probably 3,200 off of like the what I put in, but I take my initials out at 2 or 3 X's just to
mm,
de-risk my investment. But
yeah.
if you're interested in that, first things first, just start buying Solana and then allocate 10% of that towards meme coins and let the rest of it just stack up and stake it or buy a liquid staking token that has a higher interest or APY or whatever. So you're going to gain interest on your staked Solana. It just makes more money while it sits
Mm.
there. Basically, that's staking. Meme coins are fucking real as shit. They're going to outperform the market 10 times over 10. And
Yeah.
I mean, right now is a point where when Solana goes down and Bitcoin goes down, you're starting to see meme coins go down. But you'll also see points where meme coins or the meme coin market will outperform everything else. Everything's going down.
Like that
So
happened pretty recently. What, right?
this
Maybe within the
weekend,
past couple, this weekend?
yeah. So Bitcoin went down and crying cat on Solana was going up. Like people were making 52,000 X on that. It's insane,
52,000x.
dude. It's
What the?
if you get into the right tickers and a ticker is just the symbol to call it short. If you get into the right meme
Yeah.
coin or ticker at with the right amount with like one Solana and that runs up 10,000 times 144 right now,
There's
you're
a
at
lot of money.
$100,000.
Yeah.
So like you can just cash that out and then take the rest of the year off and work towards your clothing. Like I bought like I call it buying your freedom when you're able to do that. So I had a couple investments
Exactly.
where I made what I would typically make in a year. So I just stopped working. And then I was just supporting
That's
myself to hands over fist, paid off every single debt that I had. And I could do anything in the world. Like there was nobody but me making my own money.
and
And you
that's
can
the type of stuff. I mean, I to tie this back to what we talked about first. Like, this is the type of stuff I see online all the time, and I try to talk about this with, some of my friends, or I talked about it with my dad like once, and then I heard his reaction. But so many people, they just say like they're so close minded to this type of stuff. They think it's
brother,
not real, or they
your
think
guts
it's all
your
a
guts
scam.
telling you that because like you see something big, like you look outside of the box and around the corner and then down the hill. Like you're the same kind
Yeah.
of person as me with all the things you're saying. You're curious.
How you said
You're,
it can buy your freedom. Like that's how I look at it.
mm,
I don't want to be a slave for my life. I don't you see these people who are 60 years old and they've been working, their whole entire life, and they hate themselves and they hate their life. They don't enjoy anything, and all they're doing is working to live. And I
yeah,
don't want to work to live. Like I
I
want to
won't
be
ever fucking do it. I'd rather be a bum on the streets than fucking doing that.
me too. I
I
said that
swear to
recently
God.
to my homie I was talking. I was like, bro, I have two options in life. It's either I get filthy rich and do whatever I want, or I'm getting rid of everything and I'm going to be homeless and I'm going to do whatever I want. I was like, there's no in between. I'm not living this like get a mortgage, but you got to work for 50 years to pay off your mortgage and everything is in debt and blah, 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 all
All of
this.
that stuff can come, but like there's a bag that you got to get first, and like
Absolutely.
we're at a point in life where I call it like it's called the transfer of wealth. That's what crypto essentially is making available for people. It's not just that store of value. It creates that gap from the little guy, like where we don't have to like go to the warehouse and work there. I literally was standing in snow 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago, 2021, at a building, and I was like, I will never fucking be in this position ever
Mhm.
again. Like I just knew that there's ways to trade options with $100 that you could turn into $1,000 in about 15 minutes with market open, and I was able to replicate that, and I taught myself how to do this. I have a book that I keep over there. It's a yellow spiral bound notebook that I was every single night I'd get on and find YouTube guys that I liked their stuff. I'd start learning. I'd write stuff down. I'd made a glossary in the back. As obsessive as like people like Conor McGregor talk about his craft and how good he wants to be, like he was the epitome of what he thought he could be, and he did
Yeah.
that. People like Kanye West that think outside of the box, you think they're fucking crazy until they do it. It's the same fucking thing, dude. Like
Yeah.
people like literally were making fun of me about NFTs that I knew from my background and shit like that, because it's easy to just get on Instagram and talk shit with people that are like laughing with you, but none of you were going to be able to say and do the things I do. You were stuck at home with all of these things, and like you're living to do that now.
Yeah.
I don't need that in my life just yet. I'm willing to take the time to get the things I need. My parents, I need to make sure that they're taken care of. My goal is getting them a house. So if I sign my name on a mortgage, it's to make sure it's there. But I told my mom, I said, make sure you don't throw your boxes away, because if we can sell the house in 5 years, we're fucking moving that money. And she started laughing. She was like, whatever. Because like my thought is like, do I want to, make a bunch of money to do what? I was like, well, make sure they're good. And then like I have a job that they gave me a salary. I didn't ask for it. Like, well, this is one of those things. Like, I put an application out there, bro. All the shit that I do on here with like just talking to people, responding, working with projects, advising, explaining crypto, breaking it down, keeping it simple. Like, that's what the keep going thing came from. Is keep it simple, keep going. It's the graffiti style. It's something that relates to me, but it's a message. Like, it tells people, yo, life can suck. You can be broke as fuck and still come back from it. Like, just keep trying. There's people that they tap out. It's like, you gave up. You don't even have an opportunity now. Like, I don't know. And
people accept that slave lifestyle because it's easy, and they think that like working hard is hard.
yes,
Achieving things in life is hard, and
yeah,
it's mentally straining, it's physically straining, emotionally straining. But if you can get through the hard times and keep pushing through, like there is light at the end of the tunnel. And
100%.
you want to get to the end of the tunnel because when you look out and what's out there, the world is a beautiful place, and you want to
Yeah.
be able to experience the world.
When I could wake up, and this is something that crypto was able to do for me, is wake up and not have to answer to anybody. And I would still wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go to the gym at 5, go have my steak like in the morning. Like, I lived the life I wanted to because I wrote it down. I said, I want to do this, and then I'll be ready for everything else. I have a morning space, talk to the homies, look at the charts, and then I get in and I start trading from 9:30 with market open, trading options. Once I got done options, I would go straight to the crypto, start looking at the charts. Is there anything to get into? Is there any moves or plays? Like, I created this lifestyle that's making more money doing that because it's possible. But like, this is nothing you'll ever be taught about. All of your friends will think you're fucking crazy. Like, it's a lot of lonely nights, and that's what it comes down to when you want to be successful at most things. Like, everybody that's probably watching this is going to relate with what I'm saying, and your mindset, what you're saying, is like the only thing you're not doing is showing up to spaces and trading with us, and like you're buying crypto already, and it's like you got none of my other friends have an X, dog. Like Adam Christ, no X.
Yeah, it's the best platform on earth. It is.
So
The fact that Elon took that big of a risk and spent what $44 billion to buy it, and you see all the shit that he's gone through, and especially right now, like the fact that this is insane. Like, you see, there's so many people trying to sue Elon right now because all he did was have a conversation with Donald Trump on X. He didn't. All they did was talk. Words were spoken amongst them, and they're trying to sue him. Like, this dude, he is the bravest man on earth.
he's
Everyone should
got some
thank
balls,
him.
and like he stands behind it. Like that one interview where he was like, "Go fuck yourselves." Like
Yeah.
I was dying. I was like, he's very brazen on that, and he knows what he's talking about. I was talking to my mom about him the other day. My brother-in-law used to work with him at Tesla. He's very high up with software engineering and stuff like that. And I asked him about him. He was like, he's a dickhead, but he also knows his shit. He knows what he's doing, and he doesn't have time for the bullshit. You got to imagine somebody with all of that on his plate. They're not going to be the nicest people in the world all the time. They're not going to be like, they're not going to be like, exactly. Like they're going to, people want people to be like huggy and lovey-dovey and shit like that, no matter what, and like open and soft. And I'm like, that is going to breed the worst people in the entire world. You need a little edge and sternness. You can have empathy, and you can still be stoic. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, there's are people that to me, they represent what we should still be, and we should still be capable of, and
Hmm.
should be pushing for. It's like I don't see a better world with less than those types of standards. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
But this is the thing, though, is not everybody can be like that. And we don't want everybody to be like that.
no, there's
Because
roles.
this, exactly. And it might sound kind of sour, but you need people to flip burgers. You need people to do that.
There are
And
people that don't have
there's
ambition, and it's like not that we need them. It's just they don't have the ambition for other things. They are going to fill that role by opening that store. If you want those people to not have those jobs, close the fucking store.
not
Give them
everybody is like you, where you can stand outside this warehouse and say, I'm never going fucking in that warehouse again, and you
yeah,
actually make that a reality. Some people, even if they hate it and they don't want to go in, they're going to go in day after day after day. But you're going to be the person then that owns that warehouse. And hey, maybe you're not the one who's sitting outside in the cold going in every day, but there's people who are willing to do that. And for you to live this free life and achieve your maximum potential, you need people to play that role.
100%. I mean, you wouldn't have anything you have. But again, like you said, not everybody's going to do it, and those are the outliers. Everything that is easy will be done. Like the people that want to do something different, they stand up and they do it. They keep trying at it, and it wasn't that day. It took me maybe 6 months, but again, things fall into your lap if you put it out there. You write down what you want to do, and I put this thing out there. I said I wanted to get into crypto. I wanted to go back to school. And when I went to quit my job, because I started my own businesses, like while I was working, making more money doing that, I was like, I could just hustle less days, more times during those days, have these days off to do what I want over
Mm-hmm.
here. And it turned into, I ended up quitting my job the same day I was going to like turn in my 2 weeks or whatever. He's like, hey, do you want to take a layoff? I was like, yeah, I'll take unemployment for 6 months or whatever. And
Yeah.
I went back to school. I had money saved up from a bunch of investments that I had cashed out. So I was like, I have money, I have steady income, I can continue to invest, I can pay all my stuff in advance. And that was my first taste of freedom and like doing what I wanted to do in my life. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
no one in my life has done this before. They played the safe route, and I can't listen. I realized at that point, and this isn't a knock to my family or anybody before me, but I can't listen to you because you haven't done the things I want to. And
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
mean that in a bad way. And like, I love my mother to death, but I had to tell her, I was like, you can't tell me how to save and buy a house. I can help and show you now because I've seen other people that have done this. And
Yeah.
that's my goal is to fucking buy my mom a house. Like at least get her in there and help support her on that end. And it's like most people won't say that because like, well, what about me? It's like fuck that. You give people what they want. You get everything you need in that aspect. And it's just I believe that shit so strongly. It's helped propel everything I've done. Like in every aspect of life. There's a quote that I don't think I came up with this, but it's basically if you hold enough doors, somebody's going to hold a door for you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just the way it goes. And
There was a lot of back and forth I had with my family as well about wanting to make clothes and all that because
mm,
it seems like such a far fetched idea. Like I'm gonna be a designer, oh I'm gonna make clothes and people around the world are gonna buy my clothes and that's how I'm gonna make a living.
yeah,
But none of them one are interested in that. Nobody ever tried to go through that process and make anything themselves. So how are they going to tell me that it's possible or not possible?
right,
There's people that I look up to, my inspirations, and hey, it was possible for them. They made it happen. So just because my family aren't those people doesn't mean that I can't do it.
exactly,
And we went back and forth a lot. There was a lot of I guess you could say arguments or maybe long periods of times where there wasn't talking amongst us. But I think now they probably, I mean, at least I hope they accepted that, hey, this is what he wants to do. And, I've made more money in the past couple months off of selling clothes than I have in the last 5 years of me selling clothes. Like
right,
it's honestly pretty crazy. And like I just had to go to the post office today before I went to training because two people placed orders over the past week. And I'm like, I used to sit there when I was just graduated college. I used to sit there and I'd make a collection and put it out and get zero sales, and
yeah,
I would get so down bad, man. I would be so hard on myself, like, why is nobody buying? why is nobody, but why am I not rich
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
famous yet? But then I just had to put in the work. I had to get better at my craft and figure out other ways to get myself out there and get my product out there. And yeah,
Yo, man,
now I'm actually making money doing what I want to do.
I think you should spend more time on X. And I know some people that are in the fashion industry, like on this platform in there, and there's
Mhm.
spaces where you can go in there and just shill your stuff. You are already like curated to like provide a portfolio, provide a website, contacts, like everything from your Instagram to this. The only thing I would say is going to make it easier is get rid of those little underscores, make it like J Kelly on X, J Kelly on Insta, just because it's like so much more direct. Because like when I
Yeah.
was counting them, I was like, how many fucking underscores is this? Like I'll never be able to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
But that's something I tell everybody that is trying to make an impact and using social media platforms to do it. Make it more direct. You have an easy name like me, Sean Suvi J Kelly. Just
Yeah.
use on X on Insta, direct it right there without any other numbers and stuff like that. It'll help out. Just because like when other people are going to want to bring you up and share it, you can just raffle that off. Like, hey guys, follow me J Kelly on X. Boom, and
The
then you're done.
guy, I don't know if it's the same guy or if it's two different people, but on Instagram and on X, the person who has just at Jake Kelly, they're an inactive account and they haven't posted for years.
It ain't
And
ever
I'm
gonna
like,
change.
yo, this account doesn't even exist anymore. Just give me the name, and I want that. So I know one day I'll get it. One day
I
when I
mean,
get enough pull or I know somebody who works at these companies, like I will get just Jake Kelly. It'll happen. It'll happen.
it'll have. Hey man, if you keep going at it, it'll definitely happen. But 100%, I would say get involved because I've been in some spaces. I actually got to talk with Anderson Silva. I was sharing that before, and it's like
No
you don't.
way, bro.
Yeah, dude. Like I got
That's
to
the legend. That is the person that made me want to be a fighter. That is
for
my
real.
all-time favorite fighter, martial artist.
Yeah,
He is when I name like my five biggest inspirations of all time are Kanye West, Steve Jobs, Andy Warhol, Basquiat, and Anderson Silva. Those
nice,
are the
dude.
five people who have impacted my life the most.
Like
And
all I did was go to a
yeah,
space where I saw people talking. I saw him in there. I requested to come up, and I had this set up because I was making content. I was recording, and I was like, "Oh shit, let me record this conversation real quick." And I was like, "Hey, when like I did introduce myself, told him a little bit about my background, and I got to ask him a question like, how did you know when it's time to hang up? Because personally, I cannot discern that inside. Like, I don't know how to tell that. Like, my background. There's very little that's going to make me stop. Like, it's
yeah,
just there's no way around that in my head. I never will accept that until it's time to, right? Like
yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
not there. I can't explain that any other way. It's just not there. But
Bro,
I
you've
asked him,
overcome so much stuff. I've never seen somebody get injured so many times. And even after you have these pretty much career ending injuries, you always find a way to come back in the gym and get another fight. And then you get another fight, you look so good, you're training, and then you get hurt, you're out for a while, and you always come back. Like your mental toughness is honestly insane.
I appreciate that, man. And like you said, that the hard work is not easy. It's fucking hard. And I explain it to people all the time, and they don't really understand the amount of adversity that it's taken just to train sometimes. And like people ask why, it's like I just love this shit. Like it's
Yeah.
what I like to do, and it's made me a better person. Being able to tell people like you can overcome so much more than you think. Your mental's there. Like I don't I don't know any other way at this point, and it's just like I don't know. It's something that it it just came from being around people that were working harder than me, or I wanted to work harder than, and it was
Yeah.
like I don't know how else to explain it to people. But as far as like inspiration and stuff like that, Anderson's always been one of mine. He's one of the first people I see that like captured my attention with fighting. Like it's just like wow, that I didn't know
Mhm.
somebody could move like that. But
Right.
I asked him the question, how like when do you know to give up? He said you'll just know when it's inside, like simple as that. He said there's nothing and there's no one and yada yada yada, like, and then he's even come back since that little interview or conversation I had with him. But I put that on my channel because I was like, this is like a gem. Like it's
Oh,
priceless to
yeah.
me, like to have that. But you're one of those people. Just this conversation, you have 212 people in here. There's like 100 people that have joined since we started talking, and it's an interesting dynamic to hear it because I think everybody thought they're going to hear about a fighter. You have so much to unpack, and I tried to explain this to some other people in space. I was like, you guys are going to be excited to talk like and hear like what we're actually going to talk about and the stuff because I had some ideas and I was like, I really want to talk about his clothing, his fashion, and like the whys behind that, and all the things we touched on. But you get into these spaces. I know I can reach out to some people just in like the New York area where they do
Hmm.
fashion stuff all the time. And
Yeah.
if you are just more active on X, there's so many ways to just get your stuff out there, and you never know who's seeing and looking. This thing called or code get code that I've been talking about earlier today.
Hmm.
It's an instant thing where like if somebody just wanted to support you and tip you because of this conversation and wanted to see you succeed, they could send you $10 or $1 or whatever. And if you have a following of a couple thousand people and everybody's giving you like you know what I mean? They're just supporting
Yeah.
your
No, I
journey.
understand.
And if somebody buys something from you, you can use that. Like there's just ways to use crypto. This is all on Solana, and it's 11/11 by the way, so that's a good sign.
Good luck.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. You look down, and you see that. But I believe heavily in that kind of stuff, and I used to be like, oh, I don't want to be corny. I'm like, yo, corny just means you're being real. It's being who you want to be,
Absolutely.
and I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me. Like people that mind
Like
don't matter.
like you were just saying, oh, you thought we were going to talk about fighting, or that people thought that this or that.
Yeah,
If I could, if I could choose a job or a title or something to do in my life, and I didn't have to worry about anything else, I would just be a philosopher, bro. If I could just sit there and think, like that's my favorite thing to do. I love fighting, I love making clothes, all that, but I love finding problems and thinking through those problems and coming to a conclusion on how to solve them or just thinking about life. That is my absolute favorite thing. And like when I'm always so busy and I'm
hmm
very involved in everything I do, whether it's making clothes at the gym or at my job or everything like that. I'm so involved that sometimes I don't really get to show my true self. But
right.
when I get to sit there, if I'm on a drive with somebody, if we're going to another gym and it's maybe an hour or 2 hours away and we sit there in the car, and then we start talking, going back and forth. And, I start just spitting those ideas that are in my head, not even trying to sound like that guy, but it's almost every time people are like, you are so different than I thought you were. And that's probably my favorite compliment when people
Artists
say
are like
that.
that, man. Artists, I think, are very, very different people. They're cut from a different cloth,
Hmm.
pun intended on that one. But I really believe that to be true. I think that it takes a special person. Like there's people that can create art, and then there's artists just from their soul. I think everybody has the ability to be an artist. I just think that there's some people like the way you question just what can crypto do for me like is the same curiosity I have when like how can I make this painting like look real, like how can I make this, how can I just execute this, like I
Hmm.
don't know, but I just feel like I can try and do it, and like I don't know, it's just with having the time to think, like that's one of the things that goes down, like when I'm painting, when I'm drawing, I'm not really thinking about doing it, it's a clear, I don't even remember the times, like
It
I feel
just
like
comes out of you.
yeah, it's just like that time from like when I start like really getting in that zone of whether it's graffiti or whether like on a trainer or whether it's painting or drawing like over here, like it's just I lose that time because I'm just consciously like so into what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's like that there's, I want to say that there's no thoughts, but when I get done doing that, it's just like, man, like so much has crossed my mind. I've untangled things in my head. You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
it's a special place to be, and I don't have a lot of people to talk to all the time. But as soon like people think like I'm a very quiet person, I'm like, you don't understand. I get in spaces, I go in here, I talk with people for fucking hours. Like it doesn't matter what it's about. I love to communicate, but there's some people that they don't care to hear what you're saying, and it's like sometimes I keep it away from it because I try to explain stuff to them. They're like, "This guy's a fucking la la land." I'm
Hmm.
like, "There's people that get me. I'll go talk to them." Like, you know what I mean? But
Bro, I have two questions that I need to ask.
what's good?
Well, first, what made you want to get into graffiti? Because that is something that I think is that and well, painting in general is the most
Right.
pure art form in my eyes. And I have such an admiration for graffiti like, living in Los Angeles, it was every single block of every single
Yeah.
street that was there. And I had one friend who was into it like I was into it. And there was times where we would literally, especially during COVID, everything was shut down and, couldn't do anything. Everyone left the city, where we would just meet up, get some food, and drive around for hours and go to the most random spots, find places on Instagram, find these good artists, and go to these random cliffs and climb up these cliffs and find these crazy pieces that people
That's sick.
did. And I love that stuff. Like, whenever I'm with people and they're like, "Oh, graffiti's ugly. I hate it. I hate it." I understand it in like it's a legal way, but in the art form, it's so beautiful, and I appreciate it so much. Like, how did you first get into that?
All right, man. Like graffiti, I got into mainly because I got into skateboarding, and every skate park I went to, every city I'd go to skate, you just saw graffiti everywhere. So
Hmm.
when I would go up and down Philadelphia or on 95 through Chester, you would just see graffiti on the walls all the time, and it's like I just looked at it and it just caught my attention, and like I got to a point when I was about 11 years old that I was playing Tony Hawk, and like you would see it in all the backgrounds on the Nintendo 64 and shit, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, man, I started drawing like the Think logo for the skateboards, and then I found another one that I liked. I was like, oh, I'm gonna just draw this because I used to draw like cereal, like cartoon characters and stuff like that. I'd eat cereal,
Yeah.
and I'd draw them as I'm doing that. So that's how I learned how to draw like that kind of stuff, like letters and like characters and stuff like that. Well, when I got older and I started like skateboarding all the time, I saw that. I was like, man, I want to do that stuff. And then the skate shop that I went to, that was covered in graffiti. So like the older guys that were like 5, 6 years, 7 years older than me, they look like I look, covered in tattoos. And
Yeah.
that's why like I'm this fucking 11, 12-year old getting dropped off to like skateboard, and I see these homies, I'm like, I'm skating with these dudes, like fuck
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
shit, you know? And I became friends with them, and they never told me they were doing graffiti. They were so secretive and private about it. So
That's how it is, though.
yeah, dude, like so I'm on like this end of the city, like they're in Newark, I'm in Wilmington. I'm like I'm learning how to draw names, and I'm looking online because like that's when we had like dial-up internet. You can look up forums and you could find different pages, different cities. Atlanta was a hot spot that I used to look at their graffiti. Germany had a lot of graffiti. The
Mm.
stick up kids, like I consume, like I'm so obsessive with the things I like. I
Yeah.
consume my life with it. I will not take a step away. I will, like, I have an old can from the 70s right here, like, because it's just I love
Very
everything
cool.
about graffiti, and it's like I learned everything from how did it start, who was like this guy in California, Taki, and then this guy came to New York, and then he wrote on trains, and everybody was doing tags on trains, and then the subway graffiti culture came. Like, I'll send you a link for this really cool documentary, Style Wars. You'll love it. It's
I've
like,
watched that, bro. I've watched
okay,
it. Yeah.
fucking, so you get it. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, bro.
I'm bombing. I'm like starting to get a name in Delaware and Philadelphia, whatever, a little bit here and there. And then the local guys caught wind of me and was like, go hit this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot. And I also in my neighborhood, like the homies and like the gangsters or whatever, they were like catching tags because they learned from these city guys. Well,
Mm.
all of this shit, like I'm learning from here. I'm seeing this impression. I'm taking it from here. I'm learning everything on my own. I have train tracks like close enough that I can go check out. And like I just started doing all the shit. Like almost getting myself caught and like fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
popped and shit like that. I've never been caught for my real shit. I'm at the point now there's statute of limitations for whatever, but I'm still active. There'll never be a year. There'll never be 2 months without me doing graffiti. It just won't ever happen in my life again.
That's so
Again,
cool.
because like I'll live forever. There will always be a place. There's buildings I've built and I've done tags in because inside that building, in these hospitals, in these schools, and whatever the fuck we were doing, my
Hmm.
name is in there, or it's on
Yeah.
top of the roof. It's like it's just something of leaving something behind for other people to see. And like the most purest form is art. Like all we're doing is putting something on the wall. You can cover it up,
Hmm.
but the
Absolutely.
allure of getting up and getting notoriety in different cities, that became the game and stuff like that. So it just was a way for like it was never about the art, but the crazy thing was I learned how art was done. I understood art. I had a greater appreciation from art all over the world, different styles, understanding that just because what you do isn't exactly like what I do doesn't make it any less, because
Yes.
what you do is you. And that gave me an appreciation for everything. And I see things different. I look at colors different. Like when somebody says, "What's your favorite color?" I'm like, "In what?" Because your heart's going to be different than your car, and it's going to be different than your phone. Like, I
Yeah.
love how this phone looks, but I wouldn't want my car to look like that.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like colors are different because they have feelings to me.
Mm.
They have emotions and vibes and energies and stuff like that. So my graffiti represented that, and then you could use it to express yourself and your punchlines and shit like that. So the music I was listening to, how I felt about myself, and just the adversity, the struggles that I have, you put it up on the wall, and like there's people that like see it, you know what I mean? And it's like they just see a message. And
Yeah.
you where are you still in Lancaster?
Yeah.
So there's a couple places that you can go and just it's called benching, and just watch the trains go by and like catch it, like beautiful pieces. That'll be the best place for you. Like anywhere where you see layups, like rows of trains, and you can drive up and just post up
Yeah.
and stay. They're called rail fans, old
Okay.
guys with like giant antennas and shit like that, because like they can listen to the dispatch. And like the way that I learned how is like you start listening to the conductors and stuff on the trains through the radio. You learn
Mm.
their times where they pull in and when they drop people off. So we go hit the trains where they take break or whatever, and we carry out. Like
That's so cool, man.
when I lived in Lancaster, that's like that. I didn't. Nobody knew me there, so like I was like scurrying around the streets, like climbing on shit, and like I was doing. There's probably spots. Definitely spots that are still living. Like there's a I forget the road, but it's I'm fucking. It goes underneath. There's a train track overbridge or overpass. It's near the Waterworks place.
Okay.
All the way at the bottom, right there, where there's like that big rock wall train pass or
Yeah.
train
Yeah. Yeah.
overpass.
Yeah.
So if you're going down from the city and it has that long curve, and then the water's going to be on your right here, it's an archway like this. I did a hangover from one side of the road to the other side of the road in my name, and then I came back and I was like, you can't fucking read it. You can't fucking read it. I had to
Yeah.
go back up and do it all over, like the outline of it, and
That's
it says
crazy.
my name very clearly across there. But it's like
Nice.
I've left my name every single place I've ever gone to in the entire world. Like
Yeah.
that's why I did it. That's why I love it. And now I get to do murals. I do gyms. You saw how MVJ looks like.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to be there, and I'm there. You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
and like I love walking in that gym because I'm like, oh my, like I had visions when I was a kid, and when I was first getting into kickboxing, like I'm going to be in a gym where I'm pretty good at what I do now, and the whole gym's going to be covered in graffiti. And like
Hmm.
I realized that 2 years ago when I was overcoming some adversity and getting ready for that last fight at Gut Check, and it was like a lot of things came full circle, and I battled a lot of demons through that whole camp, and you know the things that I lost, it was finally putting that kind of shit at rest. But I was standing in that gym by myself one night and looking around like I'm living my dream. I'm living
Yeah.
exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like I've said this before to myself, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I don't think people realize they live their dream.
Yeah.
I, I don't think
Exactly.
the common person, the things they aspire for, they think so much further about other things or what could have been. They don't realize what they got when they got it. And I was like, I'll never be that person that doesn't fucking realize that. And it just the way I look at things changed. The way I want to be changed after that. And I'm all right with a lot of things after that. There's like you said earlier, man. There's a lot of peace at knowing who you are and what you want to do in
Yeah.
life. And like you said, it's make it or fucking make it, and
Absolutely.
one way or another, like that's where it's at. But yeah, man, I'm I'm super glad we had this conversation because like,
Hold on. One more question. One more question.
no, I'm not closing it down. I'm just saying
How
there's a lot
did
of layers to you, so it's tight to get into it.
how did this karate combat thing come about? Because my brother and I are big fans of karate combat,
Mm-hmm.
and Zach wants to fight on it so bad. And I remember when you first announced that you were fighting on that, bro. Within like 30 seconds of that post coming out, him and I were like, "Yo, you see, Subi's gonna be on karate combat," and we were going crazy, bro. We think that was the coolest thing ever. Like, how did that come about?
So I want this is another reason I want you to be more active on here, and I would like I'm bringing your brother on the show too. I haven't said anything, but like that was my plan is bring you and him before his fight on the 24th. I talked about it earlier.
Mhm.
But my goal was to help onboard you guys into crypto, into this influencer fight league. He's professional, and they would they would love to have a Zach Kelly and a Jake Kelly on their promotion.
Oh
I know
yeah.
this for a fact. So I put my name on a list, and it's just like a random thing that for the influencer fight league. The people, I guess, a lot of people put their name on there, but in my opinion, like I just kind of looked at most of these guys on here. I was like, these are like fucking crypto nerds. Like they're not like me. They're not from the fucking street. Like I'm not like better or worse than anybody. I'm just saying there's a different
Yeah.
level. Like you can fight, you can run, but you cannot play fighting. You can practice running. You cannot practice like that. You can spar, but there's a different level. You cannot play that game. You know what I mean? You can't just show up. And what I've realized was these influencer guys are really putting it out there, and they are trying this, and they are taking it serious. And it's something that I have a lot of respect for these people because like they take it serious. The ones that don't show up, no. So all I did was put my name in a hat basically by filling out and put my information in there. Said I would be ready, whenever. Give me a call. Some guy pulled out on 7 days' notice, so they called me up and they sent me the message, and I was like, yes. I didn't give a fuck what was going on in my life. I said, yup, I'm ready. Like, let's go. And like,
Yeah.
the one thing that we have always done, we know each other. You always stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
Other thing is,
Absolutely.
fighters fight, dancers dance, and motherfucker fighters fight. Like, we don't sit back and be like, oh well, no. It's yeah. You asked me, you want me to show up. I also know how promotions run, so I know if they're calling me on a 7 day notice, willing to do anything it takes to get me there, I'll do everything I can fucking do in my power to get that weight, get the physical, get the blood work, and get there. And I did all that in 3 days notice. Well, in
Nice.
3 days, I cut damn near 20 pounds. I mean, weight cut's not the worst for me, you know that, but like they don't know that. But it was still hard to get that extra 10. Like I had to work
Yeah.
for that. I only had fucking couple days to do that part, but getting the physical, getting the blood work, everything done within 48 hours was a task. So everything just worked out. But again, like when your name's called, you just show up. Like we talked about earlier. Like
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is for real. I have a chance right now. I have an opportunity of a lifetime, and they're gonna have a showcasing. Like they're gonna have a special event right here. And dude, if I was able to fight on that, I would have been the very last fight of that event. It would have been like the headline, the main
Yeah. The
event,
main event.
because like I'm the first one on the IFC list, but like the last one to like fight. I was like, that's main event in my book, brother. Like I don't give a
Yeah.
shit.
Right.
Like I was ready to show the fuck out, dog. I swear to God, I still have this picture in my head, and there's a couple things I want to get on with that. So they just called my name, I got ready, and this guy called out. All right, so there's a couple things he said that happened. The travel was an issue. The blood work was an issue. The thing was, like, I was the second replacement or something like this, so like he knew in advance. And
Yeah.
if you tell me or you got to fight, we'll get our shit taken care of, and it's get to training right away.
And we'll show up.
Yeah, like nothing else. So they know my name. They picked me out of everybody else. They said, get ready. And you know what? My blood work's done. I've got a physical. Let me know when, where, and what I got to weigh. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
I was ready at 170 because I was like 185, 190. I've been lifting weights trying to like be fucking Greek god. Like that's all I've been trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
And these fucking guys called me up on a whim. I'm like, motherfucker, like I have not been training at all. Like I've never had any MMA fights, but this isn't. So the rule sets is dope. You'll love this. It's like K1 because you can clinch, you can throw knees. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking to incorporate elbows, but it's no gear. It's just small gloves, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, it's like,
Yeah. It's fire,
yo,
bro.
I
That's
was
what I'm
like,
saying,
get the
bro. My
fuck
brother
out of
and I
here,
are
dog.
huge fans of karate combat. We
Yeah.
love that shit.
So what I would suggest to you, man, like put my like, do you know how to put notifications on the X app and shit like that?
Yeah.
So put my notifications on every time there's another group chat I can put you in as well with like all the fighters and people aspiring to get in there. Get more active, show up, and I mean if you we'll talk more about how we can get you more involved and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I'll show you the things you need to do and get you to the pages and stuff like that. I don't have any in. I didn't get any purse. They didn't pay me anything for showing up. The guy didn't
Mm-hmm.
show up. Like it sucks that it all worked out that way, but again, it gave an opportunity. I'm going to be very clear and transparent about it because that's just the way promotions work. But they gave me an opportunity. They got me there. I was ready. So I'm waiting for them
And
to call my name.
that's the thing with fighting, man, is you could be the best fighter in the world, but if you don't seize the opportunities,
Exactly.
nobody's going to know that you're the best fighter, and you're not going to get the perks that come along with being it. So whenever they're like in October, I'm going to Austria to fight for another world championship. And I wasn't planning to do that at all. You know, that wasn't on my radar, nothing like that. But I go to Scotland, I win a world title, I get back, and within like 3 days of me being back, I get a message, and it's one of the guys who's high up at ISK, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Hey, we're having a world championship tournament in Austria in October, and we want to invite you to be on Team USA and compete."
that's so
And
dope.
I remember I sent that to my brother, and he was like, "You know, it's up to you, but I would probably say that you should do this." And I was like, "Bro, who knows if I say no, I might never get this opportunity again.
Exactly.
So I have to do it." And when I just saw the benefits that came from me going and competing in my first world championship and winning that,
Yeah,
not only was it for the legacy of fighting and for the experience of fighting, but everybody thinks fighters are cool. And if you're a fighter who wins and you're a good fighter, like people think everyone wants to be cool with the fighter. They don't want to not be cool with the
yeah,
fighter.
it grows
So
your
the
name.
more you win, the bigger shit that you win, the more opportunities come your way, the more perks come your way.
It's a
So when
byproduct of hard work and
something comes your way,
dedication.
you got to do it.
Exactly, dude. It's a byproduct of showing the fuck up and being ready. And it's like, there. Let's dive back a little bit. So, how long you've been training altogether? How long you would say kickboxing?
I started when I was 14, trained for 4 or 5 years, and then was pretty inconsistent when I went to college. I'd only train maybe like once or twice a year when I'd come back home.
Yeah.
And then the last maybe 3, 4 months I was living in California, I started training maybe 4 or 5 days a week. And then I decided I wanted to fight again. Like I said, just had a lot on my mind, came to some realizations, and said
Yeah,
I
dude, you
needed
went
to
on a
move back
tear when
to,
you came back.
yeah, then I moved back to Pennsylvania in December of 2022. And then by March of 2023, I had my first fight in 6 years. And then since then, I fought in March, I fought in May, and then in August, I fought at a national tournament, won my first national title.
Was that WKA?
Yep, WK
Okay.
national champ. And then in January, I fought in New York City, and I became the New York State kickboxing champion. And then this past June, fought again, where I had two fights, became
I was gonna
WK
say you
world
got to break this
champion.
one down because the one you trained for wasn't the one that you ended up taking the belt, right?
Yeah, so I had two fights out there, and they WK, you know, they provide a lot of good opportunities, and they're a cool organization, but they're a little bit unorganized.
Yeah.
And I went out there, and the guy who was the weight class above me, he had nobody else in his bracket, and so they moved me up to fight him. And not that I wouldn't have taken it, I went out there to fight, so I would have fought regardless. You know, if they would have asked me, I don't care. I spar
Yeah.
people who are 220 pounds and do
Exactly.
well. But they moved me up there without asking. They kind of just like were hoping that we wouldn't notice. But yeah, so I fought a guy in a weight class above me for a world title, lost by decision to him. And then in my weight class, 185 pounds, I fought a guy from Brazil, and we scrapped it out for 3 rounds, and that's where I
That was a
became
hell of
the
a fight.
champion. It was wild, man. That fucking Brazilian looked at me with some kill in his eyes, and
Yeah.
that was the most physically demanding fight I ever had.
And that was that with no gear, right? That was just with gloves.
No, in their tournament, you got to wear shins, gloves, and headgear.
Oh, okay,
But when I
okay.
fought in
The New York one.
New York was no gear. When I fought in March of 23, that was no gear, and when I fought in May of 23, that was no gear.
So the
So I've
funny
had
thing
like
is,
six. I've had 6 or 7 fights since being back, and 3 of those fights were no gear.
you know, the crazy thing is like how we understand like there's a reason you wear gear and you get acclimated to fighting level.
Oh
Like
yeah,
these guys that enter this IFC thing, they go straight into no gear, just little gloves. I'm like,
they
are
have
you
no idea, man.
motherfuckers for real, dog? Like,
No, yeah.
no idea what's coming. And it's like,
My legs hurt from kicking another guy.
yeah,
Not even from getting kicked or getting checked or having any type of injury to me. Just from kicking another human being with
it
bare
hurts.
shin on their bare leg. Like I had bruises. I was limping for days. Like
Yeah,
that
dude.
shit hurts. And people don't and I get kicked and kick people 5 or 6 days a week for years.
Yeah.
People don't understand, bro. People don't understand.
This shit, it's no joke. But dude, I mean, I'm super excited to see your growth and see. I mean, the potential's always been there. We always kind of knew, like, hey, if he wants to do it, it's just show up. But it's cool to see, and this isn't a knock on anything. It's cool to see the challenge, the adversity, and overcoming that, and still being able to come out victorious because, like, it shows the grit, it shows the willingness to show up and do what it takes to take that W. Of course, we want to be matched up in the most fair situation possible because, like, if there's a rule set, there's a reason why, and like I don't doubt that you would have taken care of business in that to begin with. But seeing that test of adversity, it's like not a lot of people can say that they had to fight two times for a title. You know what I mean? Like they don't do that anymore. They used to do that type shit with Glory, which is kind of tight. I like that, but I would like to see you more active and getting these chats, getting these conversations because there's the fashion thing, there's the crypto is involved with both of these things. This is a way for me to really show you like this is things that you can do, and Zach as well. Like, dude, I could imagine seeing you out there. But I'll talk to you more and see what we can do because the next one in the States is Salt Lake City, and even if our names don't get called for whatever reason, we can go check it out, whatever, and go that route. I'll get more info on that though for sure. But yeah, it's cool. So what's next? We have Austria coming up. I know you're training for that. You said that's in October.
Yeah, the end of October, flying out there.
How long do you go for those trips? How long is like the whole stay? Is like a week?
Yeah, Scotland was a week, I believe, 7 or 8 days, and then this Austria trip I think is 5 days.
Nice.
So about a week. Yeah,
you stay pretty relaxed when you travel and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's pretty easy. Traveling's easy. I mean, I was flying back and forth across the country by myself. When like the first times I ever flew on a plane was doing all that. So that's pretty easy. I flew international a couple times before going to Scotland, so I kind of understood the whole like extra steps that you have to take in that regards.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, bro. Flying on a plane, some people get so stressed out, but that's the one place where you give up all control when you're on a plane.
Oh yeah.
If you're flying through the air and there's just a pilot who's flying this thing.
Like
if
500
you go
miles
down,
an hour, like
if you go down, you're going down. Like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And at least to me, that is very relaxing because it's like I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to put my turn signal on. I don't have to check my mirrors. Like I could just sit there and close my eyes and go to sleep. And
I have no issues with travel and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So like what's it called? There was no jet lag or anything like that. There's no associate or adjusting to that, or was it just?
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't say jet lag. The only thing that was weird about Scotland was it stays bright. There's sunlight for like 19 to 20 hours a day.
That's
because, and I didn't even think of that before going there, but they're so far north that they're closer, to the Arctic Circle that the sun just stays bright. So it would literally be like 12:30 past midnight, and you would still see like sunlight in the distance. So that was a little weird, maybe the first night, but you just close the blinds and you're fine.
That's what's up, man. I didn't think it would be too bad, especially someone's pretty solid mind with that. But I'm excited for it, dude. Is that something that people are going to be able to see streamed? Is it going to be live? I don't know if those events do that.
Yeah, there will be a stream for it.
Word.
Whenever I get details on that, I'll be sharing that for sure.
Yeah, share that with me as well. I'll definitely see if I can set it up and like stream it through this thing and just get some more eyes in there. But dude, this has been a great conversation. I'm glad we get to talk about all of this. I mean, I honestly was like kind of drawing it in. Like I think he want to see about his fighting or whatever. I was like, they'll have to tune in for his next fight then. Cause like I showed videos earlier. I showed like the everything on your Instagram as far as video wise. I showed you news clip, shared it with everybody so they can be aware of like who you are and what you got. So I didn't want to use that time to do what we've already seen. I feel like that's boring. I feel like people can achieve that on another time. So I wanted to spend this time really getting to know you. And I think this is the most we've ever talked to get into things, to be honest. So as long as we've been friends, we've been pretty much just conversations at the gym. So this has been dope.
Yeah, bro. Absolutely. This was a great time.
So I'm going to give you my number so you can actually text me and any questions you got, and we'll get you set up more to get into like the crypto side of things, get you with the spaces and stuff like that, bro. Because I definitely think that you have some good takes and a lot of stuff, whether it's political stuff, because there's a lot of conversation as you can see with the Trump on there,
Mm-hmm.
chiming in and just putting your name out there. Everything that comes with that, the networking. There is one thing that I really want to get you onboarded with. It's a meme coin called brettgold. You
Mm-hmm.
know who Sam Alvey is,
Yeah, yeah,
UFC
yeah.
fighter. So I got to meet him. Keith Barry, he's another fighter that's been in the UFC. He's
Nice.
fighting in Dubai in a boxing thing, I think.
Very
But either
cool.
way, all of these guys, there's a huge network from that trail down of
Yeah.
fighters and like the whole IFC guys. When I went out to Nashville, I got to meet them and like they're homies, and it's like who I hang out with more than anything lately, just kind of talking about things. And basically, it's like we're at an entry point for collecting and accumulating a good size, a good bag of coins. And if you get to a certain point, there's like alpha and shit to share. But getting you in there is something I want to help you out with. So
Yeah.
you got to download a Phantom wallet. That's like
Okay.
a app you download. I'll help you out with that. You don't got to do that shit tonight because it is getting late. But like I said, I'll give you my number and we'll get you on board because there's a couple things. You already make content, and one thing about meme coins, content heavy. So
Cool.
like you could tie that into you just kickboxing and just put Brett Gold on there, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's going to be like 50 plus people that are just going to see who you are just from the community engagements and stuff like that. So
Nice.
when you're trying to be an X, and something that I have spaces very often is like how you can grow your name, how you can grow your brand. That's one of the ways you get into communities and network. You work with them. This already has fighting in our DNA, and it's like there's going to be opportunities that I've already kind of talked to some of these fighters where I want to take a little tour, go travel to their gyms, train, spar, whatever, make
Mm-hmm.
content, and then fly back. Do this a couple times in between the fights and shit like that. That's
Yeah.
something I would think would be dope. But another thing I got, I have the Karate Combat like the gear, the jacket,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the gi or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm never going to use that for anything realistic. So if you want to use that and make like Muay Thai shorts or some shit like that,
Oh yeah, bro.
you know,
That would
um,
be so tight for
I got
sure.
some like I'm keeping the pants. I've used them to train in just to get like comfortable with them. But
Yeah.
the gi, I'm not. I was like, I'll wear this for like Halloween or something like that. But it'd be way cooler to have you like. I thought about this the other day. I was like, oh shit, he could make some shorts because I love the red ones with the
Thank
logo
you.
on the leg. I was like, I like the silkiness. That like, yeah, they're vibrant. Like I don't know, they look like they'd be comfortable just to wear
Yeah.
too. So I wanted to give you that just as like a gift, so you can do something fun with that, and maybe just kind of display for Karate Combat. They might like to see something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
for
they
sure.
can get us, kickboxers in some shorts.
Yeah, right. I know. Maybe give them a couple ideas.
Yeah, dude. So I thought that would be a cool way to kind of bring you into this world that we have fun in, and get you on board with Brett Gold, get you into some of these conversations, and put your name into the list. Because I mean, it'd be cool to see you on there if they can send both of our asses out there and
Oh,
do
that'd be
the work.
awesome.
We'd have a good show on our hands. That's for damn sure, and you'd have a lot of people to tune in for that. So
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. If the guy that wasn't able to come with me, I was gonna text you and Zach and be like, "Yo, can one of you guys corner me? Like, I have nobody else at this point." And
Hell yeah.
the other dude, he ended up responded, so I was like, "Thank God." But like, you two are literally the next two, and I was gonna do in a group. I don't know if you guys are ready, but I can get you here in like 3 days. You down?
Hell
Like,
yeah.
let's see what happens. So all things come full circle, brother. I think like I said, the conversations are meant to be, and let's do it again sometime. Let's see where you're
Yeah.
at, getting closer to the
Sure.
fight, and we'll go from there. Maybe we can get together, get some training in soon.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, we will for sure.
All right, Jake, man. Then you want to like leave with the people. We got like 243 people hanging out watching. Feel free to put any plugs in there where they can find you at or whatever the case is.
Yeah, everybody check me out on Instagram and on X. My ad it's at Jake Kelly with 4 underscores. And look me up on YouTube, just Jake Kelly. That'll come up as well. And my website, I released a clothing collection the beginning of July. On July 4th, I put it out. My website's jakekelly.us. So, yeah, that's my logo. T-shirts will be on there. The hats will be on there. And a bunch of new stuff soon. I'm working on a jacket right now, pants right now, new shirts, new hats. Stuff's fire. Just bought new sewing machines, new equipment. So everything's, the quality's going up, production's going up. everything's going up. You know, it's going to be great. So be sure to check me out. And thank you, Suvi. You a real one, brother.
No doubt, brother. Check him out, guys. Jake's the real deal. And like I said, we're going to be working together trying to get some shit going on. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'll talk to Zach, and you can mention it to him, see when he's free. If he wants to do it before his fight coming up on the 24th, which that's going to be live streamed as well. So people will be able to tune into that and show some love. I don't know if they'll be able to order shirts. I don't know if he has an online thing set up, but that'll be another thing. Is I know he's very active. Get these guys in there. Like, there's a whole entire fight world out here. There's Block Asset, you know, like you see in the UFC guys, you see VChain, you see Crypto.com. It's becoming like an easy way to onboard people and get them involved. The Karate Combat app itself, you can actually vote on the fights and you can win. So if you go through and you pick the right fighters, you just win off of their behalf. And It's a lot of fun to do that. So, yeah, check them out, guys. It's Jake. Anything else you want to share, brother?
Hey, that's it, man. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, guys, that's it. This is SMS Live. Let me, I'm just going to drop you down real quick, bro, and hang out real quick, because when I close the stream, you'll still be here.
Cool.
All right, guys, that's it. That's Jake Kelly, and that was a great conversation, man. He's a good friend of mine, probably a better friend. Probably not going to be able to forget about, you know, this one. This one means a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I hope you support him, give him a follow. Going to be onboarding him into our world and bring him in so you guys can get a closer look at what's going on. Next thing that I'll be doing was today, Wednesday. Nothing scheduled until Sunday. We have the Arena. We're going to be talking to them about their app, the SocialFi platform, how you guys can get paid just by using that shit. As always, guys, keep going. You can get your T-shirts, the QR code. Have this thing set up for you. I'll probably set it up tomorrow morning before I head to work. Get yourself a shirt. Give me some support on that. I really appreciate it. You can get it in men or women's sizes. It's good quality shit. Works in it stays up after the wash. I got shirts sent out to Zach and Bella. You guys pay attention to your mailboxes coming up. And then I got some international shirts I'm going to be sending out to Lisa, all the way in France. We're going to send one out to Canada to our man Dan. With Solana Made Simple. He's helping out with all of our spaces, and he's going to be helping out with content sooner than later. So, yeah, that's going on. Other than that, guys, Payson, he has a fight going on. If you guys don't know who he is, you better figure it out. I'm going to share it on the thing again, repost it, but I don't know if it's his first MMA fight or it might be his first MMA fight. Either way, the homie's fighting. He's one of the brettgold guys. He's part of the gang. He's one of the brettgolders, and we got to support the family and, show him some love. Excited to see these guys leveling up and do this kind of shit. So we're going to do it weekend. Other than that, guys, have a good night. I'm going to get out of here and get some shit done before I got to go to work in the morning. Probably going to stay up pretty late, but appreciate all the support you guys show up and, give me. Shout out to G Media. As always, this thing's sponsored by. I'll catch you.